Started the game with c4, the English opening. He went for the reverse Sicilian, and I've done some theory in this. I've not explained it on YouTube though, but I'm preparing for a tournament in this type of variation. I got knight c3, my opponent go knight f6, standard stuff, so we can skip this part. I got g3, my opponent attacked the center with d5, which is still where in book theory, as you can see by the markers in chess.com review, by the way. You should try that. I take, obviously, because you always want to trade your pawn, your c3, your c pawn for a d pawn, because this is a center pawn. You must always trade that. The game continues. As he takes, I don't take back, because of course you're trying to develop. He wasted a tempo, so when your opponent wastes a tempo, you're supposed to develop the advantage. Of course, he could play this, and I could take. Then there could be some other attack with this somehow there, but it's not really threatening. But the game continues. He developed this knight. Of course, taking this knight would be a better idea, because I can take the trade of the things. I could lose castling, but I'm having a better position overall. The game continues. Okay, now I skipped it. Skip forward. g3, taking the center. The game continues, and I develop my bishop, of course, as everyone should. You always develop your bishop. He doesn't take still, you're not supposed to take, because the moment that he takes, if you're watching the info bar, the moment that he takes, you can see the difference. I'm getting minimum advantage, and in here I'm literally, I can now in this position I have to take this because I committed my bishop here, so I'm supposed to castle, because what's the use of, if I take with this, he gains an advantage. But okay, this isn't happening in the game. In the game, instead, he developed his own bishop. The game continues. I make my first mistake. In this position, I thought, instead of going for this, let me try and go back to this. Let me try and not attack the center yet, but instead let me try and build up to kind of disturb this pawn, which is controlling most of my pieces. But apparently by chess.com it is a mistake, which gives me 0.5 advantage. The game continues. He makes an error. Instead of taking the knight in that position, he tries to pin my knight. I move my queen, which is an inaccuracy. And inaccuracy is not really a bad move, but it's a move that you made by ignoring an opportunity. So I'm guessing the opportunity was me moving here, which I don't really understand. Because even if I pin it, I can go back. But okay, I'm not a grandmaster yet. He's an expert. Guy is waiting. The game continues, and he blunders in this position, and I capitalize on that blunder by here. But in fact, in this position, I was actually worried about if I take here, I'm leaving too many things open, and I could easily get trapped. You know, because after this, I have this threat though, but there's no need for him to move it because the queen is guarding the rook, so he can just move the bishop back, and now I'm forced to move my queen again. So in my mind there, I was kind of thinking about it, but then I stopped and not overthink. Like Eric Rosen said, treat every blunder like a gambit, and I was like, if this is a blunder, I'm going to treat it as a gambit and continue the game. I continued, played, and this move happens. This move stops my queen from moving anywhere, which is very scary, because I can't move my queen here, I can't move my queen here, I can't take this. I can move my queen here though, but you really want to do that, and again the queen can be stopped by this simple move, also by this. So it became kind of threatening. But in this position, I played knight xd5, my first brilliance of the game, sacrificing my knight to avoid any tactics that could lose me my queen. Because if in this game, in this position, I thought about my queen, but I also thought about my rook, which is being threatened. See, so I also thought that if this lands here, I can't take this, and I can't really take this if he moves here, and if he kind of moves here as well. So the moves were kind of, I was running out of moves, and the only move that made sense after I cancelled every other option was knight takes e5. After knight takes e5, you can't ignore it, because if you ignore it, I now take this knight. After this, I calculated this. If my opponent goes for this, I'm allowing him to take my rook. Why am I allowing him to take my rook? I don't take this. I'm not taking this with the knight because, okay, that would be bad. Of course, I'm getting a piece for another piece. But no, instead here I hit him with a check, which is the most important thing. The check. Why some people will say, okay, but yo, this is still hanging. Of course it's still hanging, but I have knight takes here. The knight takes and there's a surprise check. So now if you castle, by the way, your rook comes here if you castle. So you gave me a bishop, a knight, and a rook. So there's genuinely I'm up on material. So we go back into the position. He takes my knight instead, and I take, because in this position as well, once he moves this knight, I have this. My queen and my bishop are working together. So I take the rook in the corner. He takes, I take back, and of course the good thing is this: my bishop cannot be checked. So it makes it even a greater move. The game continues. He blocks my bishop from any movement because this, of course, there's always this, but that's a waste of time. I continue, but I make a mistake instead. In this position, I'm supposed to go for the center and attack and remove this knight so that there's less pieces in my position, because of course this knight can come in here and try to harass me a little bit. And also this bishop needs to move. He does not move the whole game. But instead I ignore this, respecting Fisher's rule that if you have an enemy piece in your ranks, you should always find a way to remove it. And I thought I should remove the knight, then move the bishop later on. But okay, he attacks my rook. I move my rook aside. He checks. And in this position, I was actually worried. Why was I worried? Because after this, my opponent has some checks. And you see that it is a mistake, but in the game, you're not thinking it is a mistake because my opponent is higher rated than me. So now I'm thinking there's a tactic that I don't see. The game continues. I play up, which is the best move because I can't go in the corner. That would be horrible because of the other bishop. So I play up. And when I saw this, that's when I started feeling worried, because I was like, in this position, there could literally be a repetition. Have I blundered the game away? But then I thought, if I take this, the repetition is no more. Because if I take this and he checks me again, I can move down, and if he goes here, it's not a check anymore. So I took. And it's a great move. It's a great move. I don't overthink it, because why is it a great move? From my perspective, I think it's a great move because I'm giving up material, but I'm giving back material. He takes back, I move, another great move, showing that this game I was really thinking. So far I have a brilliancy and 2 great moves. Amazing. He moves back. Instead, in this position you're supposed to move his, which is a hard move to find. You know, maybe with this rating you would think not, but you're supposed just to leave the knight alone and instead move this. Of course, if I take the knight, he takes the bishop, but he did not. So I move out my bishop. I move it back in this position. That's why I made it. Okay. Everything was fine here. I was not blundering. I was not making any mistakes. I kept the game going. Everything is looking good. We are playing. I'm up material. I'm just up 1. From being up a lot of pieces, I had to give up my rook. So now I'm just up 1 minor piece. The game continues and I'm making inaccuracy. I'm not necessarily losing, but this inaccuracy allows my opponent counterplay. And he does find the counterplay. The counterplay now is that this pawn is hanging, but this bishop has nowhere to go. If I move this bishop here, after takes, this knight now has nowhere to go as well. It's now kind of vulnerable in a way. So I move the knight instead, because at least after the takes, then the bishop is stuck there. The pawn can come and harass, but then I can move back and I'm still fine. My pawns are still connected. So that's what I thought. He plays great moves from there. The game continues. The game continues. We exchange up pieces. Now I'm up a minor piece, and in this position I blunder. I just blundered, and I noticed this after he had 1 minute and I had 3 minutes, and I didn't even think. I just made the move. As you can notice, I have 338 when he makes this move, and I just spent like 6 minutes, and I just moved. I didn't even think. I just moved. And this is a blunder because take. And when I saw this, I was like, it's a draw. And it isn't. Because after takes you have opposite colored bishop. It makes you think. I was up a piece not so long ago. I was up a piece. Not so long ago in the match. I was up a piece. But now I'm down. And the game continued. Instead, I've been watching Gotham Chess's lessons on Patreon, and one of the endgame lessons that I learned is that you must always activate your king. So I activated my king. I stopped this king from coming in any closer. The game continued. I didn't push any of my pawns because I'm afraid of pushing my pawns because they never go back. The game continues, and he makes a mistake. So in this position, I'm thinking that there's two moves that I can make. There's this move, and there's this move. This move, what does this move do? This move stops this pawn from moving. Not really, but it kind of puts a hold on it. Because in this, if I make this move and he makes this move, I have this move, and this bishop can come here because after takes, you can move your king, but you can't take this bishop because this bishop is defended. Therefore, I calculated that I'm winning a pawn, and if I add another pawn to my roster, I might be winning because it's 3 on 3. But if it becomes 3 on 2 and 2 on 1, I'm actually winning in this game. So I pushed, which is a great move. I didn't know at the time. At the time, I thought I'm still ballooning the game. He moved his king, and in this position, I also got worried because he's getting close to my pawns. Even though the bishop is there, but what am I really gonna repeat the moves when he goes there to attack my bishop? But then I was like, no, let me attack. We are at the same place. As you can see, there's so much symmetry in this game where this enemy king is attacking this pawn, and he's attacking my f pawn, I'm attacking his h pawn, and we are stealing this pawn. So who's gonna take first? Me, I couldn't wait, so I took, which is a mistake. Again, it's a draw. It's a draw because after you eliminate every pawn on this side, of course there's 0.3 advantage that if he blunders a little bit is winning, but who really can blunder in this position if you are 2000 rated? So if he takes and I continue sliding here, and I take as well, and I take here, and he slides here and he takes here, now there's 1 on 1, and the white bishop just stays there. So the game is just finished. It's level. He takes, I move up, which is not the best move I was supposed to. Can try to defend when he moves here. I move there. He moves there. I move there. It's that. So basically, I've given up on the game. It's a draw. There is no counterplay. There's only 1 pawn left, and it's even risky for me because after this, I was now shaking, saying, "What must I do now?" But I pushed the pawn, and I pushed the pawn again. So I'm waiting for my opponent to start to make mistakes. So I'm waiting, but the game, the more I wait, the more I realize this game is slow. We continue, then he blunders. and I noticed it, and I'm in this game. I was exhilarated, and then I was not even recording this game. This was a tournament game, and I was exhilarated. He's low on time, of course, but in this position, for it to be a draw, he was literally supposed to move somewhere here. He was supposed to move on the side, keep it a draw, but he didn't do that. So instead, now I'm the one who's winning because I take the pawn. He tries, but I move on the side, and I move here because if he tries to avoid, assuming that some people would, let's say he tries to do this, it makes it even harder because in this position, the opponent wants to do this and avoid. But now he has given me leeway to come and try to promote this pawn, so it's even losing. So in this position, he decides, you know what, he wants to take. He takes the pawn, he takes me, I go there. In this position, he lost some time, and I win the game, which is good. But I want to emphasize the fact that in this position, my king, the dominance of my king, and the dominance of the bishop, which is the hero, the bishop moved at the end game. He didn't move in the middle game, in the opening, not even a little bit. So the emphasis is this bishop, my bishop in these positions, it always stayed here. It always stayed in its rank. It always stayed in this rank. And it became the bishop that literally won me the game. So this is my game. And I got my first brilliance here. W's, man.